Game alert. In fact, I'm breaking down the 5 biggest games for this Saturday, Week 13 college football. Free plays with analysis coming up right now. Hi, this is Steve Merril, WagerTalk.com, right back here on WagerTalk TV, and this is your weekly college football top 25 breakdown. And we have 3 head-to-head top 25 matchups this week. And as I often do, I try to give you a little bonus content. I'm going to dig a little deeper in the added rankings and give you 2 more bonus games. So 5 games broken down, what I think are the 5 biggest college football games this week. And let's start right off with the biggest game. It's not even debatable. One of the biggest games of the year, especially in the Big Ten, and that's undefeated Indiana against one-loss Ohio State. Number 5 Indiana traveling to play number 2 ranked Ohio State, 12 noon Eastern on Fox. And not a surprise, Ohio State is favored in this game. In fact, we have 3 undefeated teams remaining in the top 25. Oregon, Indiana, and Army. I'm going to talk about that Army-Notre Dame game in a moment. 2 of those 3 undefeated teams, Indiana and Army, are double-digit underdogs this week on the road. And I think there's a good reason. First of all, let's look at my simulation. 10,000 games simulated every week for every FBS game on the board. And on average, I've got Ohio State winning this game by 16.5 points. So there is value with the current line of minus 12. This line opened in the minus 11 to 12 range. Earlier this week on Wednesday, it was as high as 13.5. And then on Thursday, we saw it come back down to 12. A little bit maybe sharp money coming on the dog. But there's also maybe some front running because the public is going to be on the dog this weekend. And once again, ding ding, red flag alert. Take cover. Indiana looks like one of the more public underdogs this week in college football. And it's not a surprise. We see this quite often. I talk about it a lot here in the top 25 video, that when a high-profile team is getting points, that's when the public starts to shift to play on them. And we don't just blindly fade the public, but I do look to fade public dogs more than normal. And not only is it a public dog, but we're getting line value with Ohio State. And part of that reason is because Indiana is overvalued right now. And I say overvalued because look at their schedule. My friend and colleague Tom Abraham at ESPN Radio, I was doing a hit with him on Thursday, pointed this out. I wasn't even aware that Indiana apparently has not played a team yet this year that is currently bowl eligible. How crazy is that? 10 games in, haven't faced a bowl eligible opponent. In fact, going back 1988, 36 years ago is the last time they beat Ohio State. I believe they've only won 12 times straight up in 97 head-to-head meetings, and it's been over 36 years. October of 88 was the last time they beat the Buckeyes. Now, they have a new sheriff in town. Cignetti is a great coach, came from James Madison, a program I follow very closely in the CAA, or at least when he was there, they were in the CAA. And he, of course, started 23-2 straight up in Madison. Now he's 10-0 at Indiana. He is the real deal, and I normally don't fade coaches like him as an underdog or in high-profile games, but this is such a step up in class. Indiana's every opponent they faced this year, they've been favored. In fact, they've been more than a touchdown favorite in 7 of their 10 games, and now they're catching nearly 2 touchdowns. This is the epitome of stepping up in class, and the fact that it's a road game on top of that in a hostile environment makes it more likely that the wheels could come off in this one. And Ohio State, with that one loss, cannot afford to let up. They dropped to 6-2. They're out of the running because Indiana would move to 8-0. Oregon's already 8-0 going into this week. So this is do or die for Ohio State, and for that reason, they don't take their foot off the gas. If you're going to play it, I would lay it with the Buckeyes minus 12. That's your early game at 12 noon Eastern on Fox. Hey, comment below. Let me know your thoughts on this huge game between Indiana and Ohio State. I read all the comments, and I reply back. All right, let's keep it going. We're going to get to that Army-Notre Dame game in a moment. Also, 2 bonus games that were just outside the top 25. But one other sneaky top 25 matchup in the playoff rankings this week is number 14 BYU at number 21 Arizona State. That's at 3:30 Eastern on ESPN. And last week, impressive win by Arizona State. Going into K-State as more than a touchdown dog. I thought K-State would win that game. I didn't use it for my clients. I left it off the card. But I was looking at K-State last week. And Arizona State won their 3rd straight up and against the spread. In fact, they've gone 5-1 straight up against the number the last 6. So you would think maybe they're a little bit overvalued here. Current line is minus 3, but my database simulation actually has Arizona State by 4.5, and that's because they're playing another very overvalued team, and that's BYU, who finally lost a game. I talked about those 3 undefeateds. Well, there were 4 last week, and BYU finally went down, and my simulation favored them by about a touchdown more than the line, so I kept it off my card because I actually was looking for a reason to play Kansas, and at just plus 2.5, there wasn't enough line value to pull the trigger. But I'm not a believer in BYU. They finally came back down to earth last week, losing for the first time this season outright at home as a small favorite against the Kansas Jayhawks. And they've also become an overvalued commodity in the betting markets. If you look back to start the season, BYU went 6-0 straight up and 6-0 against the spread. They then went 3-1 their last 4 straight up, but just 1-3 against the number, including last week's spread loss. So does look like they've come back down to earth here in recent weeks, and my simulation points that out as well. I predict a 4.5-point win, and currently BYU is only getting 3 points. So I do think at 3 or less, there's some line value with Arizona State in this game. However, I'm concerned with the matchup because if you look at it on paper, both defenses should be able to control the tempo and the pace in this game and also match up pretty well. So to be honest, the best play in this game might actually be the totals play, and that's under 48.5. So take a look at the under 48.5. My projection is actually about 50. When you factor in opponents played in projections, you get to about 50. So I was hoping the line might be a little bit higher. But when you look at the matchup, as I mentioned, you've got 2 really good pass defenses. The one thing BYU has done well this year is stop the pass. They're giving up just 5.5 yards per pass against teams that average 7.2. Arizona State gives up 6.3 against teams that average 7.4. And both passing offenses average almost 8 yards per pass. In fact, they both average exactly 7.9. But BYU's opponents have allowed 7.8. Arizona State's 7.6. So this is a huge step up in class for both passing attacks against 2 good pass defenses. I like the under 48.5 in this game. I think that might be the best way to attack this on Saturday afternoon. That's at 3:30 Eastern on ESPN. All right, let's keep it rolling here. We're going to look at your other true top 25 matchup. Another undefeated double-digit dog, Army, 19th in the playoff rankings, versus number 6 Notre Dame. And this is a neutral site game in the at Yankee Stadium in the Bronx. I was going to make a Bronx joke, and I see where that went there. No, the Bronx. We're playing in Yankee Stadium here. Hey, comment below if you're from the Bronx. I know I've got some New York viewers there. And, hey, let me know if you're going to this game. Be an interesting matchup here. And 2 run-based offenses. I talked about how in that last game, Arizona State, BYU, both pass defenses match up. Well, that won't matter in this game because Army, of course, triple option, just like all the service academies. They try to slow it down, ugly it up, and it's been working well for them now for several seasons. They've really turned this program around. But can't help to notice last year they played LSU and lost 62-0. I bring that up because LSU's offensive coordinator the last 2 years is now Notre Dame's offensive coordinator. We'll see if that comes into play. Also, my database simulation projects Notre Dame by 23.5 points in this game. Current line is just 14.5. Opened as high as 17 in some spots. So we have seen money come in an Army. Probably a little bit of a public dog as well. I think the key here is to wait to see where this line settles. It's a 7 o'clock Eastern kickoff on NBC Saturday night. So maybe it will hit 14 by game time. You've got plenty of time to wait and see. If you like Notre Dame, which I do, wait and see if you can get a minus 14 by kickoff. If you like Army, I would grab the 14.5 now. 15, 16, they're dead numbers. So even if it goes back up a bit, which it might, the risk-reward isn't worth waiting. So once again, Army early, Notre Dame late. If you're playing this game, I like Notre Dame personally. I project a 23.5-point win. So let's look at the matchup here. As I said, it comes down to can you stop the run against Army. They're going to run the ball basically every play. And Notre Dame's been a good defensive team this year, 3.6 yards per rush allowed. Now, they gave up almost 5 yards a carry against Navy earlier this season, and I realize that. But they still held them to just 222 rushing yards, and they won that game easily a month ago, 51-14. And Navy had 6 turnovers, 5 fumbles lost. You could say normally fumbles are random variance about 90% of the time, but in this case, I'm not sure that was the case because Notre Dame is a physical, bigger, stronger team than the Service Academy squads. So forcing 5 turnovers might not have been totally random like you would normally think. We'll see if that comes into play here against Army. And the other problem for Army, quite simply, is when they get behind, they can't catch up. They don't throw the ball. They're not built to throw the ball. In fact, they were a pick-em against Florida Atlantic. They controlled that game easily back in September. But they've been a favorite in every other game. In fact, they've been a touchdown favorite or more in every other game. And they've been a double-digit favorite or more in every game but 2 of those others. So this is a huge step up in class once again. And being a double-digit dog, they will likely be playing from behind. And that's when the wheels come off here because they just aren't made to catch up with no passing attack. So I think Notre Dame controls this game and they pull ahead late. Take a look at the Irish minus the 14.5. Would like it better, though, if you can get minus 14 by kickoff on Saturday night, 7 Eastern on NBC. All right, those are your 3 true top 25 matchups. I'm going to give you 2 bonus games involving teams that just fell out of the top 25. And if they win, maybe they get back in. We'll talk about 2 bonus games for you here for Saturday in just a moment. By the way, it's on the late afternoon and nighttime card, these 2 bonus games. But a quick reminder, if you want my personal best bets, go to my page right now, Steve Merril, WagerTalk.com. Check out my strong college Saturday games, my strong NFL Sunday games, my daily college and pro basketball best bets. This is such a great time of the year to be on board as we have 4 major sports going at once. Just finished baseball up over 100 units this baseball season alone, and we're up over 220 units, all sports, going back to the start of last football season. But this is still about as good as it gets right now with 4 of the 5 sports that I handicap going all at once. If you would like a full year, 365 days and nights of all sports best bets, get it right now for just over $1 a play with promo code SM365. It's the 1-year all-access pass, and it's a great investment opportunity. I know 2025 is around the corner, but don't wait for the New Year's resolution. Do it now. We got Thanksgiving coming up next week, one of the best weeks of the year as far as action in football and basketball combined. So it's a great time right now to get on board a 1-year all-access for just over $1 a play with SM365. Or if you want football only, nothing wrong with that. I know all of you are football fans. We're watching a college football video here. And of course, next week is a huge football weekend with Thanksgiving, as I mentioned. Get on board right now, though, for the rest of football if you're interested in football only, because right now, this weekend at WagerTalk, $3.99 gets you the rest of football, not college or pro, both. That's like $1.99 for each, $1.98.5 for each. No, $1.99.5 for each. That's the math. $3.99 total for college and pro football combined for the rest of the year. That's over 3 months to go, because keep in mind, we have a playoff now. Playoffs in college football, which means we go into late January, Super Bowl into February. You get the rest of college and pro regular seasons, the playoffs, the bowls, championship games, Super Bowl, props, everything for just $3.99. That's about $5 a day for the rest of the football season, and you need no promo code on that. Couldn't be any simpler. Go to my page right below the daily free play. You will see that $3.99 special, no promo code needed. Or if you want basketball and you want that baseball that was incredible when it comes back, get the 1-year all-access lock-in for just over $1 a play with promo code SM365. Take your time, check out the specials, and check out that free play like I mentioned. I do put a bonus free play up every day on my page, basketball or football. Almost every day of the week we have a free play up there for you with analysis. You can also, by the way, see the previous 20 best bets recapped on a rolling recap every day at the bottom of the page. Win or lose, you see my best bets recapped every night. I don't hide anything. I don't need to. I've won consistently for 29 straight years as a full-time professional handicapper. Yes, there's ups and downs. That's why my best bets are 4% of bankroll and not 40% of bankroll. I'm all about capital preservation and increasing your bankroll over the course of the year, up over 220% of bankroll since the start of last football season. There's plenty more to come. If you're new to sports betting or if you're new to WagerTalk.com, follow along daily on my page. Best bets recapped. You can click on them and read the analysis afterwards. And when you're ready to get on board, use one of those special offers I mentioned right now. And don't forget about the daily free play as well. It's a last cut, a game that's just a bit outside. I'm very selective. 1 to 3 best bets on average per day. And a game that just misses a cut is what I post as a free play. Check out Saturday's free college plays, Sunday's free NFL play, and the daily free basketball plays right now. Steve Merril, WagerTalk.com. Hey, get there quicker with shortcut WT.buzz/SM. All right, on the way out here, let's look at 2 bonus games. Now, neither of these teams are ranked in either game, but what I did was the college football playoff ranking just has 25 teams, right? But we still have the coaches poll and the AP poll. And of course, earlier in the season, I used the AP for this video. So I went a little deeper there in the additional votes. And we do have 2 bonus games for you. This is a top 30-ish matchup. Number 31 Pittsburgh at number 30 Louisville, 4 p.m. Eastern on ESPN2. The Deuce! And last week I talked about Pitt against Clemson right here in the video as a bonus game. And I mentioned that I liked Pitt plus 11. I thought that line was way too high. And the Panthers actually had a chance to win outright. Costly turnover, also a poor final drive. With a backup quarterback made the difference. They lost by 4. So Pitt now enters off of 3 straight losses in a row. We'll see what kind of emotional energy they have left. It is a concern as a potential flat spot. They're expected, by the way, to get their starting quarterback back this week. Eli Holstein has been cleared to play. Nate Yarnell, the backup last week, actually played well, threw over 50 pass attempts, had a solid 119 QB rating. He played okay last week, but it looks like they're going to put Holstein back under center. He's been okay. There really is not a huge difference, in my opinion, between the 2 quarterbacks. Really comes down to if Pittsburgh can show up again after a little bit of a tough loss at home last week against Clemson. That was their last home game of the season as well. 6 turnovers also the last 3 games. Louisville, meanwhile, has gone just 3-4 their last 7, and they've gone 1-5-1. They've only covered 1 point spread since late September. My simulation favors them by 9 in this game, and currently they're an 8-point favorite. So the point spread looks like pretty much spot on. Kind of uncertainty with both teams in this game. But once again, both are top 30. Don't know if they can crack the top 25 with a win, but 2 teams that were just on the outside looking in. And the final game I wanted to give you is a bonus game here at 7:45 Eastern Saturday night on the SEC Network. Vanderbilt and LSU. Number 34 Vanderbilt against number 31 LSU. And boy, has LSU fallen. They were top 25 playoff and AP ranked last week. Now they're not even in the top 30. So once again, number 34 Vanderbilt, number 31 LSU. If you're looking at the additional votes in the AP poll at 7:45 Eastern on the SEC network. And you know I've been fading Vandy at times this season and selectively doing so, as they have played really well, but I still think they're an overrated squad. My database simulation kind of confirms that as well. It favors LSU by 13.5 in this game. And if we check the WagerTalk live odds screen here, we're heading into the weekend. LSU currently only about a 7.5 point favorite. And we have seen this line drop quite a bit, actually. Most sports books opened around 9. DraftKings last week had a look-ahead line of 11 on this game. Now it opened around 9 most spots this week, and now it's 7.5. LSU does have a couple offensive linemen that are questionable, so keep an eye on that. But once again, I simulate a 13.5 point win for LSU. And Vandy is coming off the bye week, so a little bit of a scheduling edge for Vandy. I played against them, of course, a couple weeks ago here in this video with South Carolina, and I also used that as my free play of the day a couple Saturdays ago back on November 9th, and South Carolina won that game 28-7. So once again, be sure to check out those free plays as I post one almost every day of the week and the weekend on my page, Steve Merril, WagerTalk.com, and I did fade Vandy with South Carolina. Of course, the week before, though, we tried to fade them with Auburn, and Vandy bit us, and they beat Auburn outright. So Vandy has played well at times this year. They're coming off the bye, and you do worry about LSU's mindset here. This is a team, after the 3 straight wins and cover, well, they started with the USC loss, of course, right? They didn't cover their first 4 games, but they did go 6-1 to start, including 3 straight wins and covers in the middle of the season there. But since they've gone 0-3 straight up and against the spread their last 3, tough opponents, A&M and Alabama, and I really do think that led to a hangover last week. In fact, I predicted it because we had a strong best bet for my clients on Florida last Saturday. So I don't really discount that loss. My only concern with LSU is, do they show up to play now? And they have Oklahoma on deck. 2 home games to finish the season here. Did not show up last week, and I didn't think they would, and I thought Florida was an underrated team. But once again, 2 teams that have a lot of question marks right now. My simulation, though, does favor LSU by 13.5, and the line is currently only 7.5. I would wait here, try to get -7 if you are going to play LSU, because it has been dropping this week. And once again, 7 is a very key number. So if you like Vandy, I'd grab the line now. If you like LSU, I would wait and play -7 or less. That would be my personal preference on Saturday night. All right, there you go. What I think are the 5 biggest games this week in college football. 3 top 25 matchups, and then a couple bonus games for you here on the way out. I always try to give you as much information as possible in these videos. And if you're finding them useful, do me a couple quick favors, and I will keep them coming. Comment below. I do truly read the comments, and I'll reply back. Let me know if you're liking these videos. Also, let me know where you agree or disagree with the games I broke down. Hey, include some analysis. I love different perspectives. Let's learn and earn and win together here on WagerTalk TV. And also, thumbs up like. I know it's simple. It takes 1 second. Boom, you just did it. But it's so helpful here to WagerTalk TV. And it also, the more thumbs up and likes, the more videos I'll do, because I know you're liking them. They like me. As Sally Field said, they like me. They really like me. Those of you that are like under 30 probably don't get that reference. Google Sally Field Oscars, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Seriously, though, if you haven't already subscribed to WagerTalk TV, and I know most of you have, we're up over 180,000 some subscribers. Click it for free, subscribe, and be sure to click that bell as well. You'll get an instant alert when these videos go up every week. I do a lot of weeknight free play videos on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday college games. I'm doing all the Thursday night NFL games, hitting over 80% on those free Thursday night NFL videos this year. Also doing the Sunday and Monday night games for you every week. Got those up for this weekend. And don't forget about my NFL Fade the Public video for Sunday as well. Click subscribe and hit that bell for an instant alert when free play videos go up here on WagerTalk TV. Also, I am guest hosting Monday WagerTalk Today at noon Eastern with Teddy Covers, so check that out as well. And follow me on social media at Steve Merril, 2 R's, 1 L. Getting more active on Instagram. Who knew? I'm having some fun there. So check out IG. Also check out X at Steve Merril, 2 R's, 1 L on X and Instagram. And stay tuned here to WagerTalk TV. There's more great free betting content coming up next.